In 2025, President Donald Trump shocked the world by slapping a 50% tariff on Indian goods, doubling down on earlier penalties. The official reason? India's growing economic ties with Russia, especially its massive purchases of discounted Russian oil, which Washington claimed undermined global sanctions. The White House expected India to fold under pressure, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi didn't flinch. Instead of panic, there was silence from New Delhi, then a series of calculated countermoves. Modi, known for his quiet resolve, simply called Trump's bluff. The US anticipated a quick capitulation, but what followed was a masterclass in geopolitical judo. Trump, the dealmaker, saw international relations as a zero-sum game. Modi, the strategist, played for the long term. The tariff wasn't the end, it was just the opening move in a much larger contest. The world watched as India, no longer a pawn, prepared to play as a power in its own right. The stage was set for a clash of leadership styles and economic philosophies. Trump's shock tactics met Modi's strategic patience. The outcome would reshape the global order. Trump's style was all about spectacle, loud, direct, and designed for maximum impact. He used tariffs as a show of force, expecting quick wins and public drama. Modi, in contrast, worked quietly behind the scenes, focusing on long-term resilience and strategic partnerships. While Trump tweeted and rallied, Modi orchestrated a series of economic and diplomatic countermoves. Trump's team used inflammatory language, blaming India for global problems. Modi turned the pressure into a rallying cry for self-reliance. Atmanirbhar Bharat. He reframed the crisis as an opportunity for India to stand tall, not as a victim, but as a rising power. The episode revealed two visions: Trump's kinetic, explosive power versus Modi's patient, cumulative strength. The world saw that while the wrecking ball makes noise, the rising tide can be transformative. Trump waited for a reaction. Modi redrew the economic map. The tariff crisis became a test of leadership, and India's quiet confidence won global respect. The drama was just beginning. At the heart of the dispute was oil, specifically India's surge in discounted Russian crude imports. The US expected tariffs to force India to back down, but Modi doubled down instead. India's energy security came first. Cheap Russian oil was a lifeline for its 1.4 billion citizens. The savings from Russian oil became a war chest, funding support for industries hit by US tariffs. India used these funds to help exporters, diversify markets, and stimulate the economy. The very action that triggered US penalties became India's shield against them. India's defiance strengthened its ties with Russia and the BRICS bloc, signaling a shift toward a multipolar world. Modi's message was clear: India would not let foreign pressure dictate its core interests. The Russian oil wasn't just fuel for the economy, it powered India's geopolitical ambitions. The world took note as India turned sanctions into strategic advantage. The balance of power was shifting. Modi responded to US tariffs not with retreat, but with a bold push for Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. The crisis became a catalyst for domestic reform and economic resilience. A $12 billion tax giveaway and boosts for state employees put money in consumers' hands, keeping the economy moving. Targeted support helped industries hit by tariffs find new markets beyond the US. The government encouraged exporters to explore Latin America, the Middle East, and Africa. Make in India was supercharged, aiming to turn India into a global manufacturing hub. The tariffs, meant as punishment, became an advertisement for self-reliance. Modi's message: India's strength lies in its own innovation and resilience. The trade war forced India to diversify and emerge stronger. The world saw a nation determined to chart its own course. The US tariffs on India backfired at home. Prices for everyday goods, clothing, jewelry, industrial components shot up, hitting American consumers and businesses hard. Small manufacturers and retailers faced soaring costs or shrinking profits. Farmers lost access to India's vast market as trade talks froze. The policy, meant to show strength, started to look like economic self-harm. Voters in key states grew restless as layoffs and higher prices spread. The administration's transactional approach ignored the deep ties between the US and Indian economies. Disrupting $212 billion in trade caused pain across the system. The masterstroke aimed at Modi left a bruise on Main Street USA. The lesson: in a global economy, trade wars have no winners. As the US market closed, India opened new doors. Modi's government fast-tracked a trade deal with the European Union, aiming for preferential access to a massive market. India also courted partners in Latin America, the Middle East and Africa, helping businesses diversify exports. Trade missions and financial support guided Indian companies into new territories. The crisis became an opportunity to build a more resilient, globally diversified export portfolio. India strengthened ties with Russia and leaned into the BRICS alliance, seeking a balanced, multipolar world. Even relations with China saw pragmatic engagement. The message: India's economic destiny would not be held hostage by any single relationship. By broadening its network, India gained strategic independence. The US, in trying to isolate India, pushed it to become more globally integrated. The world saw a new, confident India on the rise. The world watched the US-India standoff with fascination. Early predictions of Indian capitulation faded as Modi's strategy unfolded. Global media highlighted the contrast between Trump's theatrics and Modi's statecraft. In the US, debate raged over the wisdom of the tariffs. In India, national pride soared. Hashtags like Atmanirbhar Bharat trended as Modi's approval ratings climbed. Developing nations saw India's response as a blueprint for resisting superpower pressure. India's ability to leverage its market and energy savings was hailed as economic self-defense. The episode cemented India's status as an independent power in a multipolar world. Trust between Washington and New Delhi hit a low, but India's global standing soared. The world learned a new assertive India had arrived. The tariff war exposed hard truths but also opened the door for a more balanced US-India relationship. Washington learned India is not a junior partner, but a major power with its own interests. The old model of dominance is obsolete. Mutual respect is essential. Partnership, not pressure, is the way forward. Both nations share democratic values and a stake in Indo-Pacific stability. Collaboration on technology, defense, and climate change offers more than trade wars ever could. For India, the crisis validated self-reliance and diversification, but also the value of US ties. The goal: supplement, not replace, the US relationship with a broader network of allies. The Modi masterstroke wasn't about defeating Trump, it was about defining India's place in the world. The future depends on learning that true strength lies in respect and partnership between equals.